Hello everyone, I'm Jamie Price. This video is a complement to the Heart Empowerment Exercise PDF that you can download, which I actually recommend you do now because we are going to talk about it. In this video, I'm going to go over some of the details to help you understand how you can recognize the truth of your heart and really transform from within so you can follow your heart more easily. But of course, the most important part is doing the exercise. Doesn't take long, 10 minutes in general, but that's what helps you take your healing beyond that first stage of awareness and into the expansion of actual change. I recommend that you have something you can take notes with during this video. We're going to cover a lot of great information, and even that you refer back to it from time to time because you'll pick up nuances that you didn't before, which indicates you're ready for new focus, another phase of expansion. Let's begin by helping you understand the differences between the heart and the mind. They're both valuable here in the earth experience when they are balanced, working together so that you can thrive. When you're thriving, that's actually a mutually beneficial state for life. So your thriving is beneficial for others as well. Your heart is your engine of connection. It's timeless. It's infinite in nature. It operates from that broader aspect of life rather than the details. And that's why actually we associate it with emotion, which is just a vast library of information defined into a feeling. Your heart is not concerned with linear time because it knows that you are infinite divinity. It doesn't focus on the finite. It's connective in nature. So rather than right or wrong, all is well. Good or bad, it's all good. It all leads to connection. Something is good, that's wonderful. It connects, it supports life. Something is bad, that supports courage, strengthening, clarity, new choice, and that connects and supports life. Your heart operates within your infinite nature. And to handle the infinite from this finite experience, which has some natural survival mechanisms, you have to have the strength to connect. And in some ways, this is a deeper issue than we'll cover here, but you're going to make a lot of headway with this exercise. And that is apt choice of words because we're going to talk about the head. Your mind is your engine of understanding the finite, helping you to navigate the linear experience of time-space. Your ego is a function of the mind. It's how you navigate your survival in this separation that we're experiencing. The ego is the I, it's the me. And you know that we are also connected, that separation is not the whole story, but it's a real experience here. And as Ariane says often, honor the conditions of the physical realm. That's how you integrate beyond them. You're separate, you're unique. There is no other that is exactly like you in all of time and space. You are unique, and you're also connected. Now, for the context of following your heart, creating more heart-mind coherence, I'm actually going to refer to the mind and ego interchangeably throughout this video. The ego has one job: keep you alive by navigating you through this experience. To the ego, whatever is occurring is fine because you're alive. And depending on your heart-mind balance or lack thereof, the ego will resist change because it is just concerned with survival. The ego focuses in the finite experience of linear time. And it's not bad, it's not wrong. Survival is definitely a good thing. But you want to balance that with the infinite wisdom of your heart. And these two focuses, the infinite heart, the finite mind, they need each other for this experience. The mind is actually what gives your heart the capability to navigate infinite into form, into this linear time space. So to have the courage and the clarity to follow your heart, you have to be able to discern past the fear or the gratification of the mind that comes from a space of lack rather than the space of infinite love. The desires of the heart are generally broader in nature and often create a state of being that is connective, like peace, joy, love. The desires of the mind generally have an expectation of outcome or results. They're more time-based or identity-based, like fame. The heart wants experience in broad terms, like expressing creativity for the joy of it. And the mind wants experiences with certain results, like creativity for respect from others. And the heart is unconditional within the realms of conditions. The mind is conditional. And remember, none of these are better than the other. It's both in this realm that you really need. In order to recognize the heart, you have to be able to discern past the mind, which is louder because of fear. The mind is a brilliant machine, sometimes so much so that you may not recognize intent. And there are two main ways to recognize when the mind is blocking the heart because of fear. The first way, polarized emotions. Sometimes the mind ties its desires to an emotion, like, I want a relationship so I can share my love. And you just want to be aware of any emotions that seem like desperation or fear, because that polarizes you. And you don't need to suppress them. You just need to be aware of them so you can use the exercise to neutralize and open to that greater flow of the heart. So when you notice a strong or a polarizing emotion or thought, then that is a clue that your mind is involved for survival, and it's overriding the infinite nature of your heart. The mind is sensing fear around survival, and it's determining that it is best equipped to handle it over the heart. And remember, this isn't bad. It's actually a good thing, because it needs to surface so that you can become aware of it and transform. Then you can neutralize, so you can align the mind with the wisdom of your infinite heart, and align your heart with the wisdom of the mind navigating this realm. The second way, conditions and justifications. You might find conditional terms surfacing, like if then. If I receive this, then I'll be happy. Or I'll do my healing work if I don't have to deal with this certain situation. Maybe the conditions are time-based, like when I'm rich, then I'll be happy in helping others. What is occurring is the mind is bargaining with life, seeking to control. The mind is trying to negotiate terms for change. And that brilliant mind is doing its job to keep you alive. But it's just inhibiting, going through micromanagement and control. Now, throughout this, look for any kind of emotional pull. But that might not always occur because sometimes emotions are shut down or suppressed. And the ego is sneaky. So look for clues of lack, desperation, justification, and conditions. Now, in the exercise you downloaded, you're going to put these principles into application. So it will start to make sense as you're actually doing the exercise. So let's talk about it. You begin the exercise by acknowledging what you want to shift or heal so you can follow your heart more easily. Maybe it's something wonderful, like a relationship, and you just want to make sure that you're healing any unconscious or conscious resistance. Maybe it's something challenging, like an argument with a family member. You want to let that surface into your awareness and begin noticing any thoughts or emotions that arise, any physical sensations, like maybe you feel a tightness in your throat. You're learning the subtle clues of how your body conveys some of that unconscious information to you. And don't censor anything. You just want to let it surface into your awareness so that you can heal it rather than suppress it. First, follow the directions in the exercise for discovering your truth in this situation. Some of it might be good. Some of it might feel pitiful, like, why me? Some of it might not seem like it's helpful, like it's just not fair, or painful, like I can't handle it anymore. Don't worry, you are not going to wallow in pain. You're not going to become a negative person. You are not going to create these bad things because you're thinking about them or feeling them. Your intent is to heal. It's inherent in doing the exercise. This really important step helps you allow that pain and discord to release from your energetic information. That's how you transform it into the wisdom of lesson learned. Without this step, it can stay unconscious. It stays in your energetic information. And if it builds up enough momentum, even if you're not aware of it, that's when it can manifest as some challenges that you need to heal through or a little bit more chaotic times. And you cannot necessarily avoid all of the pain or challenge in life, but you can mitigate whatever's able to heal more easily. And in the exercise, you will find some mantras that will help support your healing with this. And of course, if you have the cards, you can use them in the ways that I recommended in the bonus video that you received, or use that guided meditation. Next, you are going to soothe the mind into patience after you surface some of the conscious and unconscious resistance to the heart. Think of this as soothing your ego into safety with change. And that creates more empowerment. And remember, patience is another word for neutrality. So you're seeking steps of more neutrality with the situation. And that ego is just trying to keep you alive. This is why we have a negative bias, because the ego wants to ensure your survival. But patience lets you soothe that mind into thriving rather than just surviving. You soothe the mind by saying things you believe that feel a little better. And this is important. It's not as helpful, it's not as easy to heal fear by pretending that it doesn't exist or that it's just a weakness that you can suppress. Heal it by deeply honoring that it's there and that your ego, your mind is doing a great job of keeping you alive. But here's some other information. This is the same as a paradox for the mind. It has to stretch into new information, new truth. So look for feelings that may not feel perfectly neutral, but they feel more peaceful than before. You don't need perfect patience, perfect neutrality, just enough to connect with that new truth, your new potential. Even if it feels like it's back and forth for a bit or it's unclear, that's when it's building. And of course, your download has recommendations for soothing your mind and also some mantras that you can use to support your healing. The next step walks you through compassion. But you need to make sure you're balancing compassion for yourself and compassion for your situation. So in some ways, this is a bit of externalized compassion, but do make sure that you have that balance. This helps you have a leading heart that helps you and helps others, rather than a bleeding heart that might quiet a moment, but it depletes that sustaining energy of some empowered compassion. Now, sometimes in this step, it will flow so lovingly and so easily. That's great. You're activating. If you find that anger, resentment, or any other challenging emotions surface here, that's great too. You're releasing them. Don't suppress. Keep doing the exercise, at least until you can find one little glimmer of compassion for the situation, and then try to build on that. The mantra in the exercise will help ensure that you're building replenishing and empowering compassion. The final step is loving yourself unconditionally. You're nurturing yourself more so that you can easily access your infinite wellspring of love, your heart. And sometimes you'll need to strengthen, replenish. You might need some time to get some clarity or rest. And when you love yourself unconditionally, you love others that way too. This is inherent to the truth of love. It's mutually supportive. You're loving yourself, you're loving life, the situation unconditionally, even as you hold conditions in the physical that support your thriving. It's about heart-mind balance. And each moment in your life, it might call for different choices. Sometimes it's the wisdom choice to stay at that hard job for a bit longer. Other times it's the wisdom choice to leave. Sometimes speak up. Other times say nothing. There's not just one formula that works for everything. You have to create your specific change within. And that's what this exercise is doing. It's walking you through actual change within in your sacred space, your infinite, your unconditional heart flow. So download your exercise if you haven't already. Do the work and look for those subtle clues of change that grow into bigger changes. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below the video. I am so glad that you want to create meaningful change within. Empowered individuals interacting in this world is what truly changes it. Thank you for your loving effort, Lightworker.